Good day everyone, I am Jennifer Amarelio and today I will going to introduce to you the countries in Northeast Asia. So fasten your seatbelt because we're going to fly to Russia and China. And also I'll introduce to you the two special administrative regions in China, which are Hong Kong and Macau. So first is the Russia. Russia is the largest country in the world, occupies one-tenth of all the land on Earth. It spans 11 time zones across two continents, which are Europe and Asia, and has coast on three oceans, the Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic. So, let's move on to the profile of Russia. So, the capital of Russia is Moscow. Language is Russian plus regional and local languages. Religion is Christian, Russian Orthodoxy, Islam, Judaism, and Buddhism. Currency is Russian ruble. And lastly, the political system is Federal Semi-Presidential Republic. So let's move on to the history. So the Russian Republic was established immediately after the Russian Revolution of 1917 and became a Union Republic in 1922. During the post-World War II era, Russia was a central player in international affairs, locked in a Cold War struggle with the United States. So, despite of such profound problems, Russia showed promise of achieving its potential as a world power once again. If to exemplify a favorite proverb stated in 19th century by Austrian statesman Clemens I or the Prince von Metternich, Russia is never as strong as she appears and never as weak as she appears. So let's move on to the culture and tradition in Russia. So first is Russian families are generally hospitable and open-minded. Babushka and Didushka or Babushka or the grandma and Dedushka or the grandpa play special role in the family. Second is Russians do not enter the house with their shoes on. People wear slippers in the house or just go barefoot. Next is art and literature. Russia has a long and proud tradition of literature and art, including renowned writers such as Leo Tolstoy, Fyodor Dostoevsky, and Alexander Pushkin, and famous artists such as Vasily Kandinsky and Kazimir Malevich. So the holidays and celebrations, or Russian holidays and celebrations, are often marked by traditional foods, music, and dance. Major holidays include New Year's Day, Orthodox Christmas. Music and dance. Russian folk music and dance are an important part of country's cultural heritage. Traditional Russian dance is known for its energetic and acrobatic movements, often accompanied by music played in traditional instruments such as balalaika. So next is the gastronomy in Russia. So first is the pelmeni, the blini, beef stroganoff, and the considered as national dish in Russia, which is borscht. Borscht is often considered the national dish of Russia. It is a hearty soup made with beets, cabbage, potatoes, carrots, and sometimes meat or sausage. Borscht is typically served hot and is often accompanied by dollop of sour cream. And the country's national drink, or the most famous drink in Russia, is the vodka. Vodka has a long history in Russia and has been produced and consumed in the country for centuries. It is a key part of Russian culture and is often associated with celebrations, toasting, and social gatherings. So let's proceed to the tourist attractions in Russia. So let's start in the natural attraction. First is the Kamchatka Peninsula, the Altai Mountains, the Caucasus Mountains, Kizhi Island, and the one that I focused is Lake Baikal. So this is the Lake Baikal during winter and summer. So Lake Baikal is located in Siberia. In Siberia, Lake Baikal is the world's deepest and oldest freshwater lake. It is a home to a unique ecosystem and a variety of endemic species, including the Baikal seal. So the Baikal seal is have pictures here. So this is the Baikal seal. So next is the man-made attractions in Russia. First is the Trans-Siberian Railway. Second is the St. Petersburg's Church. Third is the Peterhof Palace. The fourth is the Moscow Kremlin. And the one that I focused is the Moscow Metro. So Moscow Metro is often called as the People's Palace. The Moscow Metro is a vast network of underground train stations that are known for their stunning architecture, intricate mosaics, and ornate decorations. Many of the stations were built during the Soviet era and reflect the country's socialist ideals. So this is the Moscow Metro. So let's proceed to heritage attractions in Russia. So first is the Hermitage Museum. Second is the Bolshoi Theater. Third is the Catherine Palace. Fourth is the Red Square. And the one that I focused is the Kremlin. So the Kremlin is located in the heart of Moscow. The Kremlin is a fortified complex that has served as the center of Russian power for centuries. It is home to numerous historic buildings, including the Ivan the Great Bell Tower, the Cathedral of Annunciation, and the Armory Chamber, which houses our vast collection of royal treasures. So the first pick is the Ivan the Great Bell Tower, and the second pick is the Cathedral of Annunciation and the Armor Chamber, which houses our vast collection of royal treasures. And the Moscow City Tour. First is the Red Square, the Kremlin, the Moscow Metro, the Bolshoi Theater, the Dormition Cathedral, and lastly the Zaryadye Park. So that is all in Russia. So now let's fly to China. So China is the largest of all Asian countries, occupies nearly the entire East Asian landmass, and covers approximately 1/14 of the land area of Earth, making it almost as large as whole Europe. So inanakadako ang China. So China's capital is Beijing, language is Mandarin, religion are Buddhism, Taoism, and Islam. Currency is Chinese yuan, and the political system is a national communist government with executive, legislative, and judicial branches. So there are two special administrative regions in China, which are Hong Kong and Macau. Hong Kong and Macau are both sovereign territories of People's Republic of China. However, due to the one country, two systems policy, the two regions maintain a high degree of autonomy. Hence, they are not governed as part of the mainland China. On December 20, 1999, Macau became a special administrative region under Chinese sovereignty, as Hong Kong had in 1997. The period since reunification has been peaceful and marked by increasing prosperity. So the history in China. With more than 4,000 years of recorded history, China is one of the few existing countries that also flourished economically and culturally in the earliest stages of world civilization. Indeed, despite the political and social upheavals that frequently have ravaged the country, China is unique among nations in its longevity and resilience as a discrete political cultural unit. So much of China's cultural development has been accomplished with relatively little outside influence, the introduction of Buddhism from India constituting a major exception. Even when the country was penetrated by such barbarian peoples are the Manchu. These groups soon became largely absorbed into the fabric of Han Chinese culture. So now let's proceed to the culture and tradition in China. So first is the Chinese dragon symbol. So Chinese people believe that the dragon showers rain, good luck, and prosperity. So Chinese dragons are powerful and benevolent symbols in Chinese culture, with supposed control over water phenomenon, example or summoning rain during a drought. Dragons are everywhere in China, in legends, festivals, astrology, art, names, and idioms. Next is the Chinese painting, is one of the oldest continuous artistic traditions in the world. Another one is the Chinese calligraphy, is a style of Chinese character writing. From a very early age, calligraphy was not just considered as a decorative form of art, it was the view as the visual art form. Next is the Chinese New Year. So, Chinese New Year is associated with several myths and customs. The festival was traditionally a time to honor deities as well as ancestors. Within China, regional customs and traditions concerning the celebration of New Year vary widely, and the evening preceding the New Year's Day is frequently regarded as an occasion of Chinese families to gather for the annual reunion dinner. It is also a tradition for every family to thoroughly clean their house in order to sweep away any ill fortune and to make way for incoming good luck. So next is the Chinese marriage. So Chinese marriage are interesting, fused with their Chinese culture and tradition. In ancient Chinese marriage culture, people bearing the same surnames were allowed to get married, and marriage between siblings was allowed too. So that was the culture and tradition in China. So let's proceed to the Chinese gastronomy. First is the Chinese hot pot. Katong magbukal ang tubig. Yun. Ito slob ni mga dishes or kanang mga raw dishes. The minchi, tofu. So, I know you're familiar to tofu. And fishball. So, fishball is originated in China. And the traditional dish in China is Peking duck, world's famous. This dish is known for its super crispy, awesome skin, with the flesh remaining both tender and succulent. The most popular way of serving Peking duck is in a thin pancake with the plum dipping sauce as an accompaniment. In the Baijiu, Baijiu in China, Maotai or Maotai is known as the national liquor, Baijiu. It is made from grain called red sorghum at Quichou Motaiko. The country's most famous baijiu or Chinese spirits distillery, Motai is served at all Chinese state bouquet banquets and is often presented in diplomatic gifts. So let's proceed to the tourist attractions in China. So first is the natural attractions. Natural attractions are Li River, Mount Everest, the Jujaigo, the Tiger Leaping George, and the one that I focused is the Zhangjiajie National Forest Park. The Zhangjiajia National Park is located in the central eastern area of China in the Wuling-1 scenic area, which features multiple protected areas. The natural park encompasses an area of 18.59 square miles, or equivalent to 48.15 square kilometers. The collective Wuling-1 area is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Zhangjiajia National Forest Park is probably the most coveted part of the area. The park is comprised of dense forest, deep ravines, deep canyons, unusual peaks, caves, and pillar-like rock formations blanketed throughout the park. These pillar rock formations are what the park is renowned for around the world. So, the pillar of rock formations are not typical eroded pillars. Limestone eroded pillars. The pillar rock formations are comprised of quartz sandstone and form from physical erosion caused by abundant rains. So, katong salidang avatar, dito siya gishoot sa Zhangjiajia National Park. So, these are the attractions inside the Zhangjiajia National Forest Park. So, going up to the Zhangjiajia National Park, maagi mo aning the 100 Dragons Elevator. So, muna siya agianan pasaka sa Zhangjiajia National Park. And it has also the first bridge under the sun, the Chanjishan or the Son of Heaven Mountain, and the Lao Wuchang, the Golden Whip Stream, and also the Yellowstone Village. So now let's proceed to the man-made attractions in China. First is the Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge, which can be found in Zhangjiajie Forest. The Milao Viaduct. The Square Kilometer Array. So, the Square Kilometer Array is the largest radio telescope located in natural basin of the Duwadong Depression in Pingtang Country, Guizhou Province. The 500-meter aperture spherical telescope, or FAST, is the largest radio telescope in the world and popular attraction in China. Next is the Harbin, and Harbin also the largest ice city. Hosted in Harbin, the capital of the Chinese province of Heilongjiang, the Harbin International Ice and Snow Sculpture Festival is the biggest of its kind in the world. The weather conditions are favorable because Harbin is located in the northeast China and receives cold winter from Siberia. So, next is the Beijing-Guangzhou High-Speed Railway. So, this is the longest high-speed railway line as in December 2012. It is the world's longest high-speed railway line, rather. And it stretches 2,298 kilometers or 1,425 miles in length and can accommodate trains traveling with average speed of 13 kilometers per hour. 300 kilometers per hour. The line reduces travel times to 8 hours as compared to the 22 hours it takes on traditional railway lines. So, paspas jud kay ni siya mudagan. Kay instead of 22 hours, gipadali niya into 8 hours. The line was part of the nationwide project that would bring 18,000 kilometers of high-speed rail into China by 2015. The line is part of China Railway Speed, or CRH, China's high-speed railway network. China Railway is expected to operate 155 pairs of trains on the Beijing-Guangzhou line with a frequency of 1 train for every half an hour. So, lastly, the heritage attractions in China. So, first is, of course, the Great Wall, the longest defensive system in the world. And the second is the Forbidden City. They correlated the emperor's abode, which they considered the pivot of the terrestrial world, with the pole star Ziwi Yuan, believed to be the center of the heavens. Because of its centrality and restricted access, the palace was called forbidden. So next is the Potala Palace, and the next one is the Summer Palace. And the one that I focused is the Terracotta Army. The Terracotta Army was created by China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, who began the construction of the army in 246 BC after he, then aged 13, ascended the throne. It was an afterlife army for Emperor Qin. It was believed that objects like statues can be animated in the afterlife. Thousands of years later, the soldiers are still standing and showcase an extraordinary level of craftsmanship and artistry from 2,200 years ago. The Terracotta Army remained untouched underground for more than 2,200 years and was discovered by chance by local farmers while digging a well in 1974 in Xi'an. This discovery prompted Chinese archaeologists to investigate, revealing the greatest archaeological site in China. So, the Beijing City Tour, the Palace Museum, the Temple of Heaven, Jingshan Park, Go Wangfu, Beijing Zoo, and the last is National Center for Performing Arts. So that will be all to Russia and China. Thank you and have a great day.